Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Just One More Level podcast, Season 3. I am your co-host, Christian.
And I am your co-host, Jon.
And we have played a little bit of God of War 2. Again, another level of God of War 2, if you will. But before we get into it, Jonathan.
Yes.
What are we doing this year? This year's a little bit different than the other years. What and why?
We have a big thing planned this year. Welcome to the Just One More Level podcast, PlayStation 2 Gauntlet. We are participating in Christian's individual PlayStation 2 Gauntlet, and we are committed to trying to do exclusively PlayStation 2 games for the entire season. So that's potentially 50 PlayStation 2 games played throughout Season 3. We are, however, going to be taking viewer requests still. We plan on going back to the polls, and we still have one or two poll winners, actually, that we have to play for the podcast and catch back up on. But we still want to try to bring you as much PlayStation 2 content as we can this year to help Christian along on his insane journey of playing every PlayStation 2 game that has ever been made. That is his gauntlet.
In North America.
In North America. Also, his gauntlet is not constrained to a year. Being reasonable. His gauntlet is not constrained to a year. He is planning on just going until he finishes.
I'm estimating 5 years.
Right.
Estimating.
Right.
But that could go longer, shorter. We'll see.
Right. So that's a big commitment on his part. I encourage anybody that's listening right now that has not yet checked him out to check him out. His links are going to be down below on your podcast provider of choice or down in the description on YouTube. So please go check Christian out. He streams fairly regularly, a couple times, if not 3 times a week. If not more,
generally speaking, or less. Generally speaking, I stream as of the time of this video going up. It'll be Tuesdays, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at night, and then Sunday kind of in the afternoon. At the time of this video going up, but things can change obviously. So just check my schedule on Twitch. That's the best place to see that.
Yep.
But anyway, so. Getting into the game, though, the thing that we're actually here to cover, God of War 2. We played God of War 2, Jonathan. We did it already. Why are we playing it again?
Because our gimmick is the Just One More Level podcast, and we have had a ton of games throughout Season 1 and 2. We're going on about 50 or 60 episodes now, Christian. And for most of those games, each or one of us said that we would play Just One More Level, but we haven't. We haven't played Just One More Level on YouTube for any of the games that we've covered so far. So I thought it would be a great way to kick off the PlayStation 2 Gauntlet to revisit a PlayStation 2 game that we've covered on the podcast already and actually put our money where our mouth is and play Just One More Level. So that's what we did, and we're here to talk about it today. Christian, what do you think of this next chapter of God of War, the next hour or two of the game?
Right. So, I mean, we finished up the last one roughly around the what you're seeing on screen at this moment, right? So you get through the beginning and you dump all of your powers into the sword so that you can take down this Colossus. You finally take that Colossus down, and you accidentally kind of get smashed by the Colossus's hand and you're dying. So you're going to get your sword, and then suddenly this eagle swoops down, picks up the sword. Turns out it's Zeus, and as you're probably seeing on screen right around now, Zeus just brutally murders you. And then he gives a little bit of exposition that may or may not be foreshadowing some other events in the series, but I don't want to give spoilers for the future though. And then it's such an epic beginning to a tale. Like to a tale, I guess, to the continuation of a tale. And obviously, I mean, like, if you're seeing this on screen, if not, I'll just tell you, this sword goes clear through Kratos, man. Yeah. He is dead. Like, there is no way he's surviving this. No. But it turns out, one of my favorite twists in any video game, the announcer from the entire first game and leading up to this point in this game ends up being Gaia. Gaia the whole time. Gaia the Titan, the whole time. Mother Earth, she was watching you on your journey, kind of overlooking you, kind of helping you from behind the curtain, right? And so as you're being pulled down into Hades' lair, as you're dying, she kind of rescues you, plucks you out of it, and sends you on this journey to now take down yet another Greek god here. This time, Zeus, and who knows how many more along the ways, all while helping out the Titans, who, of course, Zeus, once upon a time, kind of maybe did bad things to. So,
yes. And at the very least, he imprisoned them underneath Mount Olympus.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
there's that.
It's great. It's great, and there is so much more that you end up figuring out through playing this game too, like more about Kratos' story and a possible reason for why he would feel this way about the gods and why he was kind of tasked with doing the things that he was tasked with doing. And it's honestly just a great tale, on top of the fact that this game continues from beginning to end. I'm sure we talked about it in the first episode. I don't remember for sure, but I'm sure we talked about this game just feels amazing. Like it's so much fun to play.
Whoops.
And it's very visceral, and it never stops. Like it just continues throughout the whole thing. But everybody knows at this point that I'm a huge God of War fan. I've played them all. I've played most of them many times. So Jonathan, I want to know for you, how do you feel about the second part of God of War here? The second
God
chapter.
of Here.
God of Here.
Oh my goodness, that looks amazing. I'm very impressed with the upgraded visual effects in this game. It's very, very similar to the first game in terms of what it's able to do visually, and for gameplay. Gameplay is almost identical. In terms of basic mechanics. Obviously, there's new weapons, new moves to learn, a new journey to go on. But like basic like UI and game mechanics are the same as the first one. That's something I mentioned in the last episode. So, but playing this on the PlayStation, well, technically, okay, I played this on the PlayStation 4, as people in the stream chat would remember me talking about just a little bit ago. I had some trouble actually playing this game. Somehow I've managed to get 2 broken copies of both God of War games on the PlayStation 2, and I had to find an alternate way to play the game. First time around, it was getting a new copy. This time around, I have access to PlayStation Now on the PlayStation 4, so I was able to stream God of War 2, which is the PlayStation 3 HD Remake Edition. So, it plays,
which I'm fairly certain is the copy I played originally for the first episode of the podcast, but this time it's actually straight from PS2 capture. Right. So, yeah.
So I played it, but the graphics are just amazing. Regardless of how you're playing this game, I did play a little bit on the PlayStation 2 and even on my modern TV, which always can reduce the quality of those older systems if you don't have some way to augment it. It looks great. It still looks great. It's just so smooth. It's so responsive. And like you said, it's still just so much fun to have this visceral carnage happening around you. And because of you, it's very satisfying. It's so satisfying to play. And the new segments that are introduced right after what you're seeing on screen right now are what really sells home that this game is new and is planning on taking things to the next level. So right after the Zeus fight, there is a flying stage, which I never thought I was going to see in a God of War game. I have to admit. Right. There's a flying stage with a Pegasus, and it's like a 2D shooter. It's like Galaga or something. You know, it's insane. So what you do is you fight other beasts that are flying, and you can hit them with your blades of chaos at the same time, but it's in 3D. It's amazing. It looks like oh my god, the only thing I could compare it to really is like a racing game, like a real PS2 Gran Turismo racing game. It controls so smooth. It looks great when it happens, like the certain effects. At one point they do like this whirlwind tunnel effect that goes around you, and this guy's like shooting magical bolts at you from in front of you. And it looks amazing. I love it. And then you fly right into the lair of a Titan, and you have to get this Pegasus out of its hand. You have to hit his hand with your blades of chaos to get him to release it, and then you go on this whole journey through this mountain. It's more God of War shenanigans, but
Can I just interject real quick? So first, I real quick just want to mention that he related it to like a driving game. I'm fairly certain he meant in feel, right?
Yes.
With just how smooth and how responsive all the controls are. I would like to quickly point out it's nothing like a a driving game.
No, it felt
it's
it
God
felt
of War,
as
the kart racer.
it felt
That's the
as
next installment in the God of
exciting.
War series.
Yeah, it felt exciting. It felt fast. It felt responsive. You know, it felt like there was some real action happening. You were able to actually do things. It could have very easily been clunky. I feel like the only thing I can think similar to this would be like some of the flying stages in Spyro, and
this feels much nicer in those even.
Yes, those in comparison feel clunky, which is
and
saying something because that was a big advancement in like flying stages, but this feels even smoother.
Spyro, I feel like they went with like a little bit of realism with their flying stages, right? And God of War, I think they just realized that like they needed to take a fun first approach.
Yes.
Like, who cares if it's technically impossible for a bird to make these type of movements, or you know, at that a giant flying horse with flaming wings.
Right. It's a fantasy.
Like, who cares if it can't move around like this? It's fun and it feels good to move around like this. So to hell with it, let's do it. Right. And I'm very glad they took that kind of approach. But the other thing I wanted to say was right after this section, you are dropped into the mountain, like the Doorsman here, Jonathan mentioned. Oh my lord! So I'm playing on hard, and it's been a long time since I've actually beaten a God of War game. I died so many times because you're climbing a wall almost directly after you get there, and on hard mode you only have enough health to take 2 hits. And there is no way to regain health until you get clear through this wall section. It was a little bit infuriating. Like, and if I was playing it on my own time, it wouldn't have bothered me at all. But because I was streaming it, is why why it ended up bugging me. Because it's like, man, I just want to get through this section so that we can see the next section on stream, you know?
Right.
And so it kind of annoyed me a little bit. But I mean, I was on hard mode though. Like, so I can't fault the game for that at all.
Right.
I had the option of playing on normal or easy, but I went hard. So,
I played on normal because I know myself, and I know that to enjoy this game right now as it stands without having played them multiple times, I would enjoy it more on normal mode.
And if you're someone new to the series or new to this game, I suggest you start on normal unless you play a lot of like Souls games or other very hard games where you're used to being stuck in one level, repeating it over and over again. Right. If that's your kink, then by all means, you know, go straight into hard or whatever. But there are moments in this game where it's a little hard.
Preference. He could have went for he could have.
Nope.
He could have said anything.
I chose my word that I wanted to choose. Anyways, if that's your thing, then by all means, go right into hard. But otherwise, I would suggest going on to, you know, starting normal or even easy if you're not much of an action fan. But, I mean, as long as you don't mind some mature content, though, I have nothing but praises for the God of War series and this game in particular. And I highly suggest it for everyone. And I imagine some of the God of War games will be the games that we end up finishing for this series because I know I certainly want to.
Yeah, I did end up finishing the first game, but we kind of ruined. I suppose we didn't, but we kind of ruined being able to talk about it because we moved on to the second one. And so it was like, and we talked about like the end of the first game in our episode with the second one because we weren't sure when we were going to get the opportunity to complete a game and talk about it.
I mean, I feel like we can still go back to it though, right? Because I mean, there's still going to be highlights, low points, etc. Whenever we do end up doing like a full game discussion, though, I think it needs to be a little bit more, and not scripted per se, but a little bit more thought out. Because these videos are very free form. We just kind of talk about whatever BS comes to mind with just vague ideas of things that we want to bring up.
Yeah, a little bit of structure.
But I feel like But I feel like a full game review style thing is going to need to be a little bit more thought out because we're going to have to find like footage for individual points that we want to make and and write down like talking points of what was good, what was particularly bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I still think we could do it for God of War 1 and have it be a compelling piece. But there's yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time to set up any of those sort of videos though.
Right.
But anyways, anything else about God of War 2? I mean, so I don't know. How far did you end up getting? Did you get your second weapon yet? Not counting the Blade of Olympus or whatever it's called, the sword that you dump all of your godly powers in. Okay.
I feel like I'm close. I almost have enough red orbs to level up my first weapon.
Okay.
I'm just like a couple hundred shy. So I've made it pretty far in that regards, but I'm still in this area. I've done a lot in this area. I've done a lot of the puzzle solving and things. So I think I'm like right around the corner from being done with this first area that you get into here with the Titan.
Yeah.
But I haven't quite made that much progress.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten a second weapon. I haven't leveled up my first one yet.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything then, but I will just say that a lot of the weapons that you end up unlocking end up being a lot of fun. I still end up preferring the chains, and that's just kind of a general rule for every God of War game, but there are some nice additions. And
you don't have the chains in the brand new one, right? The one on PS4?
You can get them.
Okay.
It's not your default weapon anymore, but you can still get chains. So
good.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
I never realized, by the way, just watching the footage here, I never realized until actually this playthrough that these like creatures that you're fighting, just kind of the default warriors, I always thought it was just like they were just Greek soldiers or whatever,
they
right?
Were just guys, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize until literally this section of the game that they were actually like satyrs or whatever the hell you want to call them that you're fighting throughout this.
They got hoof feet. Well, if you think about it, like the first step up of these soldiers are centaurs. Well, not centaurs, but they have centaurs later in the game. Those are harder versions of these guys. But what are they called? I forget what
they're called.
The labyrinth guy.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't. I can't remember what it's. With the horns and and you shove a sword through their mouth to get health.
Yeah.
I know them. I just can't think of what the hell they're called either.
Minotaur.
Minotaur. That's it. Yeah. Some Minotaurs. So I mean, I know that you fight like mythological beasts and whatnot, but it's just I don't know why I always just thought these guys were regular guys. And I'm not sure if that's exclusive. And that's what I was going to say. Maybe they made that change for God of War 2. Maybe in God of War 1, they were just regular guys, the basic enemies. But either way, I never noticed that in God of War 2, they were Minotaur, or not Minotaurs, satyrs until, like I said, literally a few days ago when I was playing this game on stream. So, like, I just kind of thought that was crazy.
I like the level design. I think the level design carries over pretty well from the first game. But in this first section, I got to admit, there was a couple of frustrating parts. I think there was a couple of like, all right, where do I go kind of things going on. Any
that you can think of off the top of your head? I'm just curious.
Yeah, there was, oh my goodness, I think it was the first parts. Right after this, you find a zip line. And there's a little crate hanging from it. So all the way down in the distance, there's a chest to get that has some red orbs. And immediately to your right, there is a crate that you need to break so that you can ride the zip line. I don't feel that it's very apparent that you need to break the crate. It kind of looks like you can grab the crate and just ride on it. The only thing that I saw was an interactable little glow. There's a little glow every time you need to hit R1 to interact with something directly. So I was trying to just interact with it when, in fact, you needed to break it first and then interact with it. And there's a couple of things later on that really sells that puzzle idea. Like as an element to a puzzle, you need to break something first and then interact with it. And that's a normal thing in video games. You need to break it and then interact with it. But I don't know why it just wasn't coming out to me as obvious, and it was frustrating for like probably like 2 minutes. I spent way too long trying to figure out that stupid little piece of not even a puzzle, just a thing. It was just a barrier.
I wonder if part of that is because one of the weapons that you get later on is a projectile weapon.
Okay.
So there are like some of those breakable, interactable things that you just can't mess with right away.
Okay.
So I'm not sure the exact section you're talking of because they use that same sort of setup a couple times.
It's
it's
actually coming up on the video feed here.
Okay. So it's one of the early ones that
it.
you are meant to break. Okay,
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. So I can see where you're coming from. It's hard for me to be objective on that sort of thing because I've played this game so many times, and I originally played God of War 1 and 2, 10, 12 to 14 years ago or something like that.
Right.
So like I don't really remember at this point what my first time was like with God of War.
Right.
Yeah. I remember the recent times that I've played it
on the video footage.
But the recent times that I've played it, I have all that experience from when I played it before. So I'm a little bit skewed in my feelings there.
On the video footage, you tried to go that way first too, and then you came to this thing. You tried to break it. You didn't immediately know what to do, and there you go. See,
well, I mean,
it was that thing. It was that thing right there. For some reason, I feel like I was hitting it, and it wasn't breaking. So I thought, oh, I'm dumb. It's not supposed to break. But I saw that little glow from the grapple thing down there, and I was like,
and it just happened to line up.
Go this way. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I felt so stupid.
I see. I can see where your confusion came from. The moment there where I went the other way, I was checking for secrets because I don't remember where all the secrets are. I knew that wasn't the way I was supposed to go. Like so for me, I knew where I needed to go. But it did look like that box that you could interact with it. I will give you that one. Like that looked like an interactable object, and it just wasn't. Because that box just happened to line up perfectly with the glowing grapple point later on. Yeah, you are right about that one, man. I got to give you that one.
Yeah, that stumped me for a couple minutes, and I felt so stupid after I finally managed to break it. I felt so stupid. But this part is actually really cool, and I don't know if I did it right. I don't think I did. Because I went way past this part.
What is this part? Because remember, a lot of people won't be seeing footage here. So what is this part?
Yes. So if you're not seeing footage here, you come to a little area that's outside, and you run into a tortured former god that is chained to the hand of this Titan. I think it's the Titan. It might be something completely different, just sticking out of the ground. But he's chained to this hand, and he has a hippogriff, I believe. Eating his insides.
Yes.
And it's awful. It looks gross. It feels gross. It's the worst. So you walk up to him, and he's like, "Just kill me. This sucks." and he was like, and Kratos is like, "What do you got going on here, bud?" And he says he defied the gods. He brought fire from Olympus down to the humans. That's what he did. And now he's cursed. So he's chained to this thing, and a hippogriff is eating his guts. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll kill you. But then I don't know how to kill him. I don't think I did it.
You didn't screw anything up. Don't worry. You'll come back to this section later on.
Good.
So you didn't screw anything up. No worries, man.
I
was a little confused about that too, though, to be honest, because again, it's been so long since I've actually played it, and I thought that I remembered doing it right away, but I'm fairly certain that you don't actually take him out of his misery until a little later on, because you'll collect some other things and come back.
Because I hit the chain. I finally figured out how to hit the chain, and I hit the chain, and he falls. And it's just hanging there. And then I was like, as soon as you hit the chain, I was like, oh, are we going to release him? And then he's going to serve some kind of purpose. He's going to give us a thing maybe. No, he just hangs there. And I'm like, I'm trying to hit him, and he's making noises when I hit him. And I'm trying to hit the chains, and nothing's happening. And I'm like, there it is. If you're watching on video, you can see it now. It's
at least here soon, because the footage may not line up exactly.
It might not line up perfectly, but it's rough.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I felt so bad because I saw the path open up ahead, And I was like, oh, okay, so game wants me to go that way. Gotcha. And I started going that way, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. What about what about the guy? We're just gonna leave him there roasting over the fire? And it just kept going. So I was like, all right, I guess that he's just gonna die real slow and then regenerate, because he regenerates when he dies, I guess. So, oops.
Yeah. That was his punishment.
I thought I
his
failed.
punishment was to die a miserable death every day, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that is his punishment. So don't love that. Sucks for that guy.
It does.
But moving on.
Yeah. I mean, to
the
be
next
fair,
segment is just more grunt fighting, and then I think I've managed to get my regain some of my ground, and I am now back in an important place in the game.
I was gonna say you should
there.
be coming up to another boss fight after that.
I believe I am
mark.
Because
but,
I found a couple of chests that were like in an offshoot area that had a ton of red orbs and a health box. So I was like, all right, we're gearing up for something.
And I mean, honestly though, I don't know if there's much more to say about part 2 of God of War. Really, it's ended up just being more of what we said for our episode on God of War 1 and our original episode on God of War 2, right? It really is just an amazing game, as long as you don't mind some mature elements in your game.
Some mature content,
because it has plenty of that.
That it does, yes.
But yeah, I mean, eventually, as we mentioned earlier, we'll do a full review on God of War 1 and 2, and we can talk more in detail about things there. But
that
we
might
really
be a good
just
idea.
Wanted to hammer home the point that this game is well worth playing just one more level.
Yeah, do like both of them at the same time. We can do like well, I'm just saying,
feature.
like, because we were just talking about a little bit earlier here. We kind of felt like we couldn't revisit God of War 1 because we capped off and wrapped up the story at the beginning of our first God of War 2 episode. So we did a part 2 to God of War 2 instead. So it might actually be nice to do, like, if we play the whole games and we review the whole thing, that we do God of War 1 and 2, and then we can move on to 3.
Okay.
Or
I thought
prequels.
you meant like at literally the same time. I still think it should be broken into 2 separate videos. Like God of War 1 is one thing, and then God of War 2 is its own thing. Because I imagine there will be a fair bit to say.
Probably.
But yeah, speaking of having a fair bit to say, though, we've actually already gone almost a half hour, so I think it's pretty much time to wrap this up. Unless you have any, if you have any closing thoughts, Jonathan, before we go, or
nothing specific. No. Of course, as always, we thank you guys so much for listening and watching and continuing to support the podcast. You can check out all of our individual things and together things down in the description below the YouTube video or on the page of your podcast provider of choice. So thank you. You don't have to listen to us, but you do, and we appreciate it. So thank you for that.
We do. Thank you all so much. And I mean, we kind of skipped it. We're a little out of practice here, and I feel like it should be obvious, but would you play just one more level, Jonathan?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah.
Yes. I would play just one more level of this game. Oh, no.
I think it's pretty obvious from everything we've talked to up to this
considering
point.
this is a part 2.
But,
yeah,
yes. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I would as well.
definitely play just one more level. I have doing the flying segment of this game and just demolishing those eagles. And throwing them to the ground is probably some of the best fun that I've had in a game in a while. That's
it's
some
amazing.
of the most like satisfying
really
moments. Yeah, that's like
right.
nailing a fatality in Mortal Kombat.
All right, so now
like.
Jonathan already gave us the goodbyes, so I'm not going to hold us up any here. Just one last time, thank you all so much for being here and supporting us, and we hope to see you again in the next episode, whenever we end up recording that. So, bye-bye, good night, see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.